Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Let's talk tariffs. Everybody's talking tariffs. So let's talk about it. How is it going to affect new construction? That's what I'm here to talk about. How is it going to affect houses? Because I'm Jonathan Lundy and I sell houses in the Southwest Missouri area. My main areas of business are Joplin, Carthage, Carl Junction, Webb City, Neosho, Lamar, all the surrounding areas around Joplin. I'm sorry if I missed a city because I'm on video and I'm all of a sudden nervous. No, I'm kidding. I work in the Southwest Missouri area and would love to help you buy a home. And let's talk about how the tariffs could affect new construction. Now, one thing I'm not here to do is I'm not here to tell you whether tariffs are good or bad. There's definitely people out there that are like, this is a great thing. We're really glad to see this. There's other people that are saying this is a terrible idea. I'm not here to tell you either way. What I am here to talk about is how could it affect new construction and new construction homes and the prices of new construction homes specifically. Right? So there's a couple studies out there, and CNBC came out and they were quoting Alan Dietz, the chief economist for the National Association of Home Builders, saying that home prices could go up as much as $7,500 to $10,000. Realtor.com said that the cost of homes could go up $9,200. I saw another article on CNBC that said that home prices could go up more than 10%. So there's a lot of different factors coming in here, and there's a lot of different numbers I'm hearing, right? Or is it going to go up 10,000, or is it going to go up 10%, which would be closer to 20,000 or 400,000 on a national level, 20,000 in my local market. So digging in here, what is it? What is a tariff first? A tariff is a tax on a product that's imported from another country, right? So if this pen was manufactured in, let's say Ireland, this pen was manufactured in Ireland and it cost 50 cents for me to buy, that now if the government put a 10-cent tax on Irish products, that this pen might now cost 60 cents. And so the idea is that it might encourage me to look around and maybe find a local manufacturer who maybe is now making pens at 55 cents. So at one time it didn't make sense to buy it from the local manufacturer because they were 55 and I could buy it out of country at 50 cents. And now it would be cheaper because now there's a tax on buying this product. Right? That's how they work. So let's talk about the products and what is imported. The National Association of Home Builders estimates that $204 billion worth of goods are used in new houses. That's according to a study done in 2024, right? So in 2024, $204 billion worth of goods were used to build new housing. Of that 14 billion or 7% was imported from outside the U.S. So the idea here is that 7% of the products used to build our new housing could raise in price because of a tax or a tariff put on the product coming into the country. Specifically, lumber would be one of the largest impact products, right? Lumber is, a number was thrown out there, around 70% of lumber products or lumber used for housing is brought in from Canada, and actually even higher than that. Now that I'm looking at this, 85% of all lumber imports come from Canada. That's according to the National Association of Home Builders. Another product that affects home building, or that the price of it would affect the price of home building, is drywall. So this, I guess not this here, but behind this is the drywall. That's back here, right? The drywall, the gypsum used in drywall is largely imported, or there are large portions of it imported from Mexico. So once again, tariffs on that. Other things that you might not think about, or maybe you already are electrical, your lighting, right? Your lighting, those you've probably seen this sticker, made in China sometimes. And made in other countries as well, just made out of this country, right? According to eyeonhousing.org, they threw out a chart, things that you may not think about, the building products that are most often imported for new residential construction, at least in 2023, right? This is going back to a study done then. Computers and what they call peripheral equipment, the machinery used to produce even produce our locally made products, right? Whether that's concrete or the cutting the lumber, things like that. Things you may not think about, that if the companies are having to pay more for their equipment, they're going to have to charge more for their product, right? And that goes all the way down to the saws and the hammers and the tools used by the guys building your house. If they're paying more for that, they're going to have to charge more for their time and their service that they're providing of building the home, in addition to the actual products that are going into your home. Other things that I found interesting, imported into the U.S., 71% of all tile was in 2023, 71% of all tile was imported into the U.S. 80% of all luxury vinyl plank flooring, right, which is a huge product used in our area, but 80% of that is largely imported into the U.S. So there's lots of products. Of course, we talked about it, 204 billion worth used in housing. A large percentage of some of the common ones we're used to, right? The flooring, the lumber, those big things you see are actually imported from outside of the U.S. Countries that they're imported from, well, here's an interesting list. Chile, Canada, Mexico, India, China, Italy, Spain. The list goes on and on. That is not a comprehensive list. But the point is, what we're seeing with these tariffs is we could easily see, and actually we will see with the tariffs, if they proceed with them, that the price of the lumber is the price of the material. I'm sorry, not just the lumber, but also largely the lumber. The price of the material will go up. The price that it takes to build your home, the material, will go up. And the price of potentially the tools, the equipment that's used to produce some of the other materials, even materials that are made here in the U.S., right? You know, concrete products are largely made in the U.S. The equipment used for that is sometimes imported from outside the country, meaning that the time, the effort, what's going into the making of that product is actually going to go up in price. So all this is going to cycle down to, we will most likely see home prices actually go up as a result of tariffs. Who knows exactly how much? Again, I saw a study that said over 10%. I can't tell you that, but I can tell you if the tariffs proceed forward, the cost of housing goes up. And usually that means that if the cost of the housing goes up, that the price will go up as well as the builders turn around and sell that product. Guys, if you have questions about construction, if you have questions about buying a home, hit me up, text me at 417-439-7721. Make it a great day.